When truth is buried, the silence is demanded. We stand at our freedom's edge.
And this is our freedom's edge. This is our freedom's edge, where courage meets conscience, where truth has a voice again, and silence finally has a consequence. I'm Dr. Diane Bailey, retired psychologist, Army veteran, lifelong observer of human behavior, and now your host on this edge between what we say and what we're afraid to admit. Because let's face it, folks, America's got a problem with truth. We pretend not to see what's right in front of us: corruption, cruelty, the decay of empathy. And we dress it up as patriotism or faith or even freedom. But freedom without conscience is chaos. And chaos, that's what we're living through right now. I didn't start our Freedom's Edge because I wanted another political podcast. God knows there are enough of them. I started it because I've spent a lifetime listening to what people don't say. I've watched good, intelligent, moral people bend themselves into knots, trying not to offend, not to speak up, not to lose friends, jobs, or comfort, while the loudest, cruelest voices grab the microphone and call that courage. This isn't about left or right. It's about right and wrong. It's about reclaiming what words like honor and justice were supposed to mean before we started using them as slogans. Here's what our freedom's edge is. It's a line in the sand. It's where we stop pretending the emperor's got clothes. It's where we talk about what we've become and whether we have the guts to change it. Because I do not care how many flags someone waves or how loudly they shout, "God bless America." If they've forgotten what decency looks like, if they can't recognize cruelty when it's staring them in the face, then they've already surrendered what makes America worth saving. Maybe that's why I'm here. Because I watched common sense collapse right in front of me in real time. I watched people who used to know better, teachers, neighbors, friends, defend the indefensible. They cheered for cruelty and called it strength. They laughed at compassion and called it weakness. They traded reason for rage and then acted like that was patriotic. That was the moment I realized if we don't start talking honestly, out loud, and without apology, we lose more than elections. We lose our souls. And that's what our Freedom's Edge is about. Finding the courage to speak when it's easier to stay quiet. Finding the conscience to care when apathy feels safer. Because truth, real, honest to goodness truth, does not need permission. I remember the exact moment it hit me when I realized we'd crossed that invisible line where logic used to live. I was at a town hall meeting one evening. Nothing special, just another Tuesday night, small town America. The topic was school funding, books, teachers, supplies. But before long, it wasn't about budgets anymore. It was about fear. One man stood up and called teachers enemies of the people. Another shouted that reading certain books would poison the children's minds. And the crowd, my neighbors, people I'd known for decades, erupted in applause. That was the sound of common sense collapsing, not with gunfire or riots, but with cheers. I sat there thinking, how the hell did we get here? When did curiosity become a threat? When did empathy start sounding like weakness? When did we decide that cruelty, as long as it's loud, counts as leadership? Maybe it started the first time someone said, "Don't talk politics at the table," or when we learned to nod politely at lies because it kept the peace. We kept our jobs, kept our friends, kept our invitations to Thanksgiving, and slowly, quietly, we lost our backbone. So, yes, this show will talk about politics, not the way cable news does, though. This is about the politics of humanity, the policies of conscience. Because every vote, every silence, every shrug of, "That's just the way it is," shapes the world we wake up to. We'll face hard questions here, questions that cut through slogans and pierce the comfort zones. Questions like, how long do you let ignorance run the conversation before you stand up and say, enough? What does patriotism mean when your country forgets how to care? What does freedom mean if it's built on someone else's suffering? You might not agree with me on everything. That's good. Disagreement is not the problem. Dishonesty is. We can debate ideas all day, but we cannot debate facts. We can't twist reality until it snaps and still call it truth. That's why our Freedom's Edge exists, to drag honesty back into the spotlight, even when it burns our eyes. You know, when I look back, I realize this isn't just a national collapse of common sense. It's a personal one, too. We've all felt it, that quiet erosion of conviction. It starts small. A joke we don't challenge, a comment we let slide, a cruelty we scroll past because I don't have a dog in this fight. Every time we stay silent, we surrender one more inch of our humanity. And inch by inch, we've surrendered miles. There was a time when I thought my silence was diplomacy, that by listening, by being calm, by letting others vent their venom, I was somehow keeping the peace. But peace built on denial isn't peace, it's sedation. It lulls us into thinking The fire outside won't reach our door. Then one day you wake up and the smoke's already inside the house. That's where we are, America, standing in the smoke, pretending not to cough. I am not here to offer comfort. Comfort is what God is here. I am here to demand awakening. Because if we don't reclaim the power of conscience, we become spectators in our own downfall. You know, people ask me regularly, Diane, why do you sound so angry? And I tell them, anger isn't the enemy. Apathy is. Anger means you still care. Anger means you're awake enough to feel the bruise of injustice. What matters is what you do with it. Here on Freedom's Edge, we're going to use it. We'll use it to dissect the lies, to name what's broken, to demand better even when it's uncomfortable. Because that's how progress happens. In discomfort, not denial. And maybe, just maybe, by the time this season ends, you will see that conscience isn't weakness. In fact, it's the only strength we have left. We've been told to stay in our lane, to leave politics to the politicians. But when politicians trade truth for power, it's no longer politics, it's survival. Look around you. We're a nation gaslit by headlines, distracted by outrage, addicted to noise, and through it all, the real battle isn't red versus blue. It's conscience versus convenience. Here's the truth. Freedom was never meant to be comfortable. It demands vigilance, courage, and a willingness to stand when standing actually costs you something. So here's my challenge to you, actually to all of us. The next time you hear someone distort reality to fit their comfort, don't scroll past it. Don't laugh it off. Call it out, name it, push back. Because silence has an expiration date, and ours is long past. This season, our Freedom's Edge will confront what America doesn't like to see in the mirror. We'll talk about moral courage, manipulated faith, and the way power weaponizes fear. We'll name the illusions and remind you that change doesn't come from comfort zones. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I refuse to pretend the questions don't matter. Because conscience, real living conscience, that is our last frontier of freedom. So if you're listening right now, you're already part of this movement. You're proof that courage still exists, that clarity can still cut through the static. So stand at the edge with me. Let's reclaim our decency, our empathy, and our fire. Because courage without conscience is chaos. And conscience without courage is silence. This is our Freedom's Edge, where courage meets conscience. Stay awake, stay vigilant, stay loud, stay free, and stand on the edge with me.
When truth is buried, the The silence is demanded. We stand at our freedom's edge.